Alrighty, so I know it's nothing crazy. Wow, whoa, okay, a guy is excited for Starfield. Whoa, that's insane. But I've been playing Bethesda games for a really long time, and I just kind of wanted to, I don't know, react to the trailer a little bit. I've already seen it, of course. I watched the entirety of the Xbox and Bethesda showcase that they did today for, I think it's Summer Games Fest that it's a part of. But I just wanted to kind of go over it again and see it because there may be some stuff that I missed in the awe that I was in sort of watching it. But so far, oh my god, it seems like it's going to be a really cool game, and I'm really interested to see how it turns out because if I'm not mistaken, I think that this is the very first game that Bethesda is doing that wasn't a part of an already built IP, because people know them for Fallout, people know them for Elder Scrolls, like stuff that was already sort of going before they were, making it, which I don't know, maybe they already owned Elder Scrolls, but I know that they purchased and took over Fallout. So this game being their own new sort of experience, and there's character creation, which is always great, of course. I mean, all of their games pretty much already have character creation, but it looks pretty in depth. There seems to be a lot of stuff that you can actually customize, like you can build your own bases on different planets, you can build your own spaceships, and I don't know, it just seems really cool. They were saying that you can customize the crew and sort of hire people to either help you pilot the ships or help take care of your base as you've built it and everything. Todd Howard is part of Bethesda, so that's great. So I don't know, I just figured we would do the once over on this thing and I would tell you my thoughts and opinions on it.
Our most ambitious game ever. Like our previous games, it's an epic role-playing game where you get to be
epic role-play game.
But this time you'll be exploring space. So let's jump right in. This is early in the game as you arrive on the mysterious moon of Crete.
Alrighty. So the first impression that I literally got, and I know that everybody's pretty much already said it at this point, was it just looks like a better version of No Man's Sky. It definitely looks a little bit more gritty. I think No Man's Sky is a little bit more vibrant with their colors and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm sure there probably are some very vibrant sort of areas and stuff like that in this game. But from what I've mostly seen, some of the cities and stuff are definitely a little bit more colorful. But this planet in particular that they start off by showing, it's very grim, very dark almost. Not necessarily darkest color, but or lighting, but color wise. So I think that's very interesting. I thought the first time that I saw this, I thought that this robot was the character and that the camera was just really far behind him for some reason, and I was like, what a weird camera angle. But it just looked like you were maybe up on a scaffolding in a huge hangar bay or something, but I guess that robot is just the size of a human, so that was kind of a weird perspective when I first saw it. But it does look like you'll probably be able to harvest all kinds of different materials on these different planets, and there's all kinds of really neat creatures. Most of the gameplay from what you see in this is him fighting space pirates and humanoid enemies, like humans. I would assume they're humans, but maybe not, but they're at least humanoid, they're just regular people kind of enemies. And that's a little, I guess that's to be expected, I guess. But in some of the cinematic stuff that they show off, I remember seeing at least one kind of actual aggressive creature, and I'm sure you can fight any of these things that are he's seeing right here as well. But it looks like, I would imagine the majority of combat is going to be humans or humanoids. So finding iron using a little mining laser, which is kind of neat. I think that's kind of cool. Trying to try to read some of the text and stuff like that. Also, there's a little HUD thing behind me you can see. I don't exactly understand it. I'm sure it'll explain it and everything like that once you sort of get into the game, but there's an O2 and CO2. I would imagine, I'm not sure if that's your character's oxygen or if that's the planet's sort of oxygen or whatever the case may be there. I think that this gun looks super cool. It's definitely a reminiscent of a P90, but I really like the way that it looks. I don't know, I love seeing sort of space age weaponry, I guess. And I guess the cool thing about Fallout was it was always it was reminiscent of like the 50s and 60s maybe, but the weapons and stuff like that were a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more futuristic, I guess, which I really liked. So seeing these and like how good the game looks in general, I'm really excited. I think weapons are always one of the things that really gets me like excited to play a game, because one of the other games that they showed off during this conference was Redfall, and they'd already kind of announced it, but I actually got to see gameplay and stuff, and the weapons in that game look so good, they actually made me want to sort of get the game, whereas I wasn't like super interested in the concept, but after seeing the trailer and seeing more of the, you know, the weaponry and stuff, it was like, oh, this is really cool actually. So digital lock picking, very interesting, kind of a cool concept with the, I mean, I feel like lock picking in most games is very, you know, similar or reminiscent to each other, so it's, you know, there's only so many ways that you can do lock picking, but with it being space age and, you know, very sci-fi, you can do a little bit more interesting stuff there. Another thing that I noticed the first time is that, of course, all of these, you know, space pirates that he's fighting and stuff here have numbers next to them. I'm assuming that's their level, which means that the only concern that I have is like maybe in the later levels it's probably going to get a little bit more like bullet spongy, which could be kind of annoying more than anything. I think bullet sponging is like a big concern when it comes to playing some games, because like it's just annoying to shoot an enemy a million times over and them not die. But I think they have good experience with this as far as like, you know, the newer games like Fallout 4 per se. I don't necessarily remember if you see like an enemy's level, but as you level up things get harder, and yeah, they get a little bit more spongy, but you're also leveling up, which means that you're kind of on the same page more often than not. So I kind of hope that they still end up keeping it kind of like that, whereas, you know, human enemies, seeing a human take like a whole clip or more to kill just is kind of annoying more than anything. Getting the close-up of these characters' faces is also really cool. Like, I think there's a pretty good amount of detail. It's not like insanely detailed. Like, there's definitely still some, like, I don't know, you can tell it's a game for sure, but I think that it looks really good. And I think the big concern here is that they've been using the same kind of engine for a lot of their games for a really long time, and I don't know if this is made with Creation Engine or not. I would assume it probably is, but it looks fantastic, I have to say. This was another thing. When it got to this part in the original, or when I was watching it the first time, I was like, man, these spacesuits look really like bulky and clunky, and I'm not a huge fan of the way that they look. So I'm really hoping there's some like really cool sort of like space armor or like customization to the spacesuits to make them look a little bit better, because I'm not a big fan of the whole like astronaut spacesuit sort of aesthetic, but you know, I would imagine there's going to be different kinds of armor. I mean, you know, there's enemies that have interesting sort of like combat suits and stuff. Like these guys specifically, they have pretty cool suits. So I can only imagine it's going to be, you know, very customizable. You're going to find a whole bunch of different stuff. The guns look really cool. Just in general, I think that they look good. That old man looks great. I like that armor. It's got like a skull sort of aesthetic in the face. It's very neat.
The path ahead may be dangerous.
Ooh, like zero gravity. Here's some of the, yeah, I definitely remember that. Some more like creature combat. They don't show a lot of it, but very interesting. That's really cool. So that planet was definitely a little bit more vibrant, a lot of foliage, I guess, but a very big creature. Almost looked kind of like a triceratops in a way. Wow, thanks.
And the choices you make. And that starts with character creation.
Here's the character creation. So I feel like this is super. I mean, it's not going to be the most detailed character creator you've ever seen, of course, but it looks very good. You can even change walk style, which is cool. I feel like a lot of games don't really let you tweak that kind of thing. But this is really cool too. I like that he's like, oh, you can basically choose what you were before this, and you'll get perks depending on what sort of like job you had, which is kind of cool. And then this is very reminiscent of like Project Zomboid, where you pick extra traits, but they not only have upsides but downsides to go with them, which is a really cool thing. I do like that a lot.
new skills as you level up, and then you
And I like this too. I like the fact that you can not only get perks, but you level up the perks to do even more, which is cool.
resources you find to crafting weapon mods
Crafting is... I'm starting to become less of a fan of every single game in the world having crafting, honestly, but you know, it's pretty much a staple in most games nowadays, so you can't really do much about it.
build your own outposts.
Here is the outpost building system, which is super interesting. I love games where you can build bases and stuff. So this is cool.
How to build each one, and you can hire characters you meet to keep it up and running.
Hiring a crew and everything is cool.
That's not all.
I figured there would be a lot of stuff around the spaceship because that was kind of the selling point.
Spaceships.
At least with the, you know, the initial like announcement, like, oh, Starfield, you know, space, exploration, galaxy, blah blah blah. But the fact that you can actually build your own spaceship, and they do go into it a little bit, building crew, or like choosing crew members. And this looks super cool. I like this. Almost reminds me of, like, if you've ever played Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which is a very odd game to ask if you've played, but if you've ever played that, it reminds me kind of the vehicle creation system in that. I'm sure this is a little bit different than that, but it definitely looks cool.
Shields to weapon systems, because yes, you can fly it.
As if there was any question on whether or not you wouldn't be able to fly it. Yes, you can fly the spaceship, which is very, very cool. He even shows a little bit of like space combat, which is awesome. And this system, just in general, this is going to be so atmospheric. Just being able to drive around or fly around in your spaceship and just do barrel rolls and see these gigantic planets and stuff. That's so cool. So got a little bit of space combat going. And it's really cool too. You can see like Saturn, or I don't know if that's actually Saturn or if they're gonna have their own names for all of these planets. I would imagine they'll probably do their own names, but very cool, just like fighting and being able to see the big open space and the stars and the planets and stuff like that in the background is really cool. Asteroid field is really, really cool. Definitely a staple for a space game. That almost looks like a cargo ship. Space station, very, very cool. It's just so, I don't know, I feel like there's not a whole lot of games that do, you know, like planet to space transitions very well, where it's just like all integrated into one game. I think No Man's Sky was pretty much the first game to sort of do that. Maybe not first to do it, but it was the first big game that people were super excited about to do it. And unfortunately, it kind of was a flop at the beginning. I've heard that they've revamped that game quite a bit now, and it's a lot better, but I just haven't tried to get back into it.
You've given us over the decades, especially on this game. It's been an incredible journey for us making it, but we know that's really only the beginning. For it's when all of you play it that the real journey begins. And you may be wondering, just how big is this game? So we thought we'd take one last moment and show you.
Now this is really cool.
Let's take a look at one of our planets, Jemison. You can land into Atlantis.
So that's the city.
You can also land and explore anywhere on the planet.
So that's a really big
It's not
thing.
just this planet. It's all the planets in the system.
So I want to pause it really quick here just to see, because I haven't, the solar system doesn't seem super big, but you have, you know, of course, the sun, which I assume you can't explore. This planet right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have smaller planets or maybe moons, so 4 sort of bigger style planets, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if that is one. I'm not sure if that's just a white blip in the background or if that's an actual planet, but 8 or so like smaller like moons or smaller planets. And I mean, he's saying that you can land anywhere on them, which is very, very cool, because some of these, I mean, this planet is fucking huge and this one is also very large. And I mean, you know, if he showed it just a second ago, and the planet or the city is, you know, that little blip over there, and you can go all the way to the other side of the planet, then, you know, there's going to be a lot to explore in this. So that's a moon.
And not just
Gagarin.
a system,
Gagarin.
but over 100 systems. Over
Oh.
1,000 planets, all open
Never
for
mind.
you to explore.
I thought it was just that one solar system, so never mind. It's vast. I can only assume that means there's probably going to be a lot of empty dead space in some of these planets. I can, they can't populate at all, but going to these planets and finding these like dungeons and sort of raiding these big buildings or whatever and finding space pirates and caves and all this really cool terrain. I don't know, it looks like it's gonna be a really fun time. And it's been a while since there's been like a really big, ambitious, sort of a game like this. And I'm all for it. I think it looks super good so far. There was a lot of hype for the game before it was, sort of shown in any capacity. Like they showed the title screen or whatever, and some like small teaser maybe. I can't remember exactly what all they showed before this, but this trailer was enough to, or not trailer, but this gameplay preview was definitely enough to sort of point me in the right direction. I think that it's going to be fantastic. Unfortunately, I was really hoping it was going to be coming out sometime this year, which it's only June, so we've got another 6 months or more before it's 2023. But I am definitely looking forward to this thing. This thing is looking fantastic. So that is pretty much it from me. Don't have anything else to say. Just wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit, show how excited I am, I guess, for it, because I'm definitely going to be looking into this whenever it first comes out, and it will be on Steam and it's on Xbox Game Pass, which is cool. I don't know if it's going to be a day one Xbox Game Pass game. A lot of the games that they showed off during this conference were going to be Game Pass like compatible day one, but yeah, honestly, pretty sick. They also have their website that you can go to. I don't know, I haven't been to it yet, but I'm sure it's just like, oh, pre-order the game, or here's some small screenshots or concept art or something like that. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you later.